Welcome back to Ruck and Roll Rugby. And the Springboks again, we thought they might do it different this week after pretty much a hiding that they got from the Wallabies in the first test at Ellis Park. They would announce, maybe they'd announce the team later. Nothing changes for Rassie except almost the entire team. But he's announced he's starting XV to play the Wallabies in Cape Town. John, my friend, it's good to have you back. We haven't spoken in a while. How are you?
Hey, Joe. Great to be back, and I love the intro. I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking. It's definitely interesting to see how Rassie has shaken things up with his second cast. Can't wait to break it all down with you.
Oh, yes. No, it's going to be good. So, John, let's start with the forwards. What I found is that I saw a lot of new names in the forwards and a few interesting decisions that they've gone for someone like Franco Mostert, who usually plays lock, who will be playing, 7 this week, which is interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Franco Mostert at 7 is definitely a surprise. He's usually more at lock, so it looks like they're going for a bit more versatility and some extra mobility in the pack. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Definitely a bold move.
Yeah, I've seen him play there, but not much for the Springboks. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how that plays out. Another decision is Jean-Luc Dupree at number 8 there. Obviously, we know Visa is injured and he's got some injuries, Rassie. But Jean-Luc Dupree has also not had a lot of starts for the Springboks. So he said he was not going to play a lot of new players because of their loss at Ellis Park. But in a forwards perspective, it still seems like he's playing quite a few new players.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting mix of experience and fresh faces. I guess with all the injuries, Rassie's having to shuffle the deck a bit. But it does make it exciting for us to see how these new players handle the pressure. It might just be the shake-up they need.
Yeah. Who was injured after the last game of the Springboks, the first game at Ellis Park? Can you just let me know who was all the players that was injured that wasn't able to be picked for this game?
After that first game at Ellis Park, the Springboks have a few key injuries. Sia Khaleesi, their captain, picked up a knee injury, so he's out. Peter Steftetut has a concussion, and then wingers Kurt Learenzad and Edward van der Merwe are also out with knee and ankle injuries. So definitely a bit of a shake-up in the squad because of that.
Yeah, and there's some big names there, if you think of Kurt Learenzad, who's been really good. I don't know if he would have played this game anyway, but, someone like a Peter Steftetut might have been in the mix, and Sia Khaleesi had such a great game in that first game, so I'm sure he might have also been in the mix somewhere, but they're not making it in the end, obviously, of injuries. But then if we just look, Rassie also going back to his DNA. That's the only way to put it, because when you look, he's playing the 6-2 split again, and he wants to bring the bomb squad on again. But again, a few young players he's bringing in there that I found still, that even though he looked really upset after the last game, he actually said the Springboks played dog shit. Excuse that for all the viewers that might not appreciate that, but that's what he said. And yet again, he's still bringing in a lot of new players, which I found quite interesting. A Marnus van der Merwe and a Boan Venter is pretty new to the mix. And then he's got some more experience in Wilco, Eben Etzebeth, Loot de Jager, and Kwagga Smith. So still a scary prospect of players to come off the bench, and he can have that bomb squad, effect again. But two very new players.
Yeah, it really shows that Rassie is sticking to his guns with that 6-2 split for the bench, and it's always a game changer when he does that. Even though he's not thrilled with the performance last time, he's definitely giving some of these new guys a shot, and that definitely keeps things exciting. But yeah, that bench is still packed with talent, so the Wallabies are definitely in for a tough time.
Definitely. And then when you look at that backline, I'm so glad that he's keeping Grant Williams, because it's obvious that Grant Williams is the best 9, that he's letting him start. He's a great distributor of the ball. And to me, quite happy to see him dropping Manie Libbok for this game, because Manie Libbok had a bit of a shocker game. So playing Handré Pollard, which is Mr. Cool, so they say he's got ice in his veins. So he will be very important for this game, And then you've got Cheslin Colby, which we haven't seen lately in action, with Kane and Moody on the wing, which are two great wingers. I really like Kane and Moody in the centre position as well, but he just doesn't have space. And then going for a very experienced Damian Delalindi with Jesse Krill, and then going for Jesse Krill to make him captain again, who's done pretty good job at being captain for the Springboks, and then of course all that experience with Willie Leroux in the backline. Now I think this is probably the most experienced backline for the Springboks they featured in a while, because they've been experimenting a lot. So this is where I see Rassie has gone back to old school, to say I'll go back to my experienced players.
Absolutely, it does feel like a return to that seasoned core in the back line, which definitely brings a lot of stability. Grant Williams at 9 is a fantastic choice. He's been on fire, and Pollard at 10 definitely has that calm, experienced head. And yeah, Ches and Colby back in action is always a treat to watch. It's a good mix of experience and a bit of youth, and it should be a pretty exciting match to see.
Yeah, and I'm also excited, of course. Cobus Reinach's always good off the bench. He's still probably my second option. I'd pick him above Mornay van der Berg. But also what I'm excited to see is, what I like is Sasha Feinberg and Ngomezulu, that they've got, that can come on second half, probably in that fly-off position, because he brings something else too, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He definitely has that spark and bit of unpredictability that can really change the pace of the name when he comes on. And Cobus Reinach is definitely a solid choice off the bench as well. So lots of exciting options to watch out for in the second half. And I think that depth is going to be a big factor for them.
Yeah, and I feel this week, I mean, maybe that's the thing, the Springboks using in their bench correctly. They didn't quite have the impact last week. Let's just talk a little bit more about that Ellis Park game. I think that what Rassie's pretty much, doing here is he's trying to move away from playing too expansively, where the first game it pretty much looked like he said, listen guys, just try and run it. And it almost felt like they overplayed the ball.
Yeah, it definitely felt like they tried to be a bit more adventurous than usual, and it didn't quite pay off. The Wallabies definitely capitalised on that, and the Springboks looked a bit out of sync. I think Rassie's guiding it back this week, focusing on that solid forward game and then letting the backs do their thing, but in a more controlled way. So hopefully we see that a bit more of that classic Springbok style, and the bench will definitely help in the second half.
I totally agree. I think what they'll do is they'll play more. They need to hold on to the ball and starve the opposition of possession. I think that's the first thing, and then obviously always it's a territory game. They were playing out of their own half this week, out of their own 22, instead of trying to get some tactical kicking in there. There was a lot less contestable kicking, which caused the whole game to be just very loose. Instead of trying to hold on to some ball, play phases. I just feel they should play a few more phases with the forwards, bash it up a bit, what we know Springbok to be for their DNA. And then after, say, 5-6 phases, then try and see if you can distribute it a bit more. Obviously, they can't get the same width if they play like that, but they have to kind of dial it back to Springbok DNA,
Yeah, absolutely. That more controlled, forward-dominated game is definitely what the Springboks are known for, and it helps them set that platform. If they can just tighten up those phases and then kick tactically from a more stable position, it'll definitely put the pressure back on the Wallabies. It'll be interesting to see if they adjust that mindset and come out a bit more old school. I think that will definitely give them a better shot at a win this time around.
Yeah, and they're going to have to be forced to play a little bit more old school, because what you really want them to do is get that tactical kicking, play the up and unders for the knock-ons, that kind of stuff, so they can get more scrums and they can get more lineouts, because they were starved from lineouts and scrums. Because I just felt that, Mani Libbok's decisions to just run it from everywhere didn't really work for them. So I think it's a game back to basics. The backline really tells me that. The forwards are still interesting, and there's quite a lot of debutants they still got in the mix, so it was interesting the way they picked it. So then now if we look ahead at this game, what other news have been coming out? I know Rassie's had some interviews. There's been a lot of questions asked from Rassie. Just give me any other general Springbok rugby news from this weekend, and maybe anything from the Wallabies camp.
So a few interesting updates on the Wallabies side. Harry Wilson, one of their forwards, has been cleared of any structural knee damage, which is good news, but he still won't be playing in the upcoming match. Rassie Erasmus is definitely looking to fix those mistakes in the first game. And on the Wallabies side, Joe Schmidt has been showing a lot of respect towards the Springboks. So it's definitely setting up to be a pretty exciting rematch.
Yeah, and I think what Joe Smith's done with this team has been pretty amazing. What he's done with the Wallabies, and I think he realizes that Rassie will go back to his DNA, because he's been burnt now by playing this type of more expansive game. It doesn't mean that the Springboks won't still want to play the expansive game. It's already kind of, they've been training for it, so it is getting ingrained now, and they will run the ball, but I think they'll just go a little bit more back to basics. Yeah, and I think the main thing for them is to also focus on their defense, to just be a little bit slower on that shoot up defense, that very quick line speed, where they're almost shooting up like a blitz defense, seem to be causing them a lot of problems.
Yeah, absolutely. That super aggressive line speed can be a double-edged sword. If the timing's off, it leaves gaps, and the Wallabies definitely exploited that last time. I think going back to a more measured defence and focusing on those basics will definitely help them tighten up. And sounds like Rassie is indeed going to find that balance between the expansive play and the more traditional, solid Springbok style. It should be a fascinating match.
It should be. I obviously don't want to. I can't fully say yet what the score is going to be, but I've got to say, currently looking at this team, I think Springboks will take control of this game. I still think that the Wallabies will put up a fight and be in it in the first half. That second half, I just don't see it with this proper bomb squad coming on this week. And then, of course, Andre Pollard keeping good control over the game. I think the Springboks will win by about 14 points. Difference between the two teams. I don't think it'll be that much more. I really think this is a developed Wallaby team, and I think they'll come out strong. One place that I do feel that the Springboks were lacking in the first game is how poor they were at the breakdown. Now, my question is just, Marco van Staden, Franco Mostert, and Jean-Luc Depree is not, for me, any of them are the biggest fetchers, maybe Franco Mostert, but they've got a lot of carriers which are bigger men, carry type loose forwards, and not really that much fetchers there, which could be a bit, that could bite them a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great point. They definitely have a strong carrying pack, but maybe not that classic breakdown specialist. It could mean that the Wallabies will try to exploit that a bit more. But on the flip side, having that extra bulk and power in the loose forwards can definitely help them get those hard yards. And you're right, the breakdown was a bit of an issue in that first game. So it'll be interesting to see if they adjust that and how the Wallabies try to capitalise on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. We'll see how they capitalise on it. But it's definitely, when I'm looking at a guy like a Fraser McWright, and the captain, and that might be back from this injury. They've got some good fetchers in that team, so yeah, they're also going to come with some experience. O'Connor was great at 10, so I still think it'll be a good game. I just think the Springboks will come back hurting this week, and the same as the All Blacks, the Springboks, everyone's on their backs as soon as they lose, so they need to prove to the fans who they are, what they are, and their DNA, and show that they're the champs.
Absolutely, there's always that extra bit of fire when a top team has a rare defeat. Springboks will definitely want to show their true colours and bounce back strong. And with the experience and the colour they have, it's going to be a great match to watch. I'm sure the fans are in for a treat, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
Well, I can't do that again, because for me, having to react to games from the Springboks, it's pretty embarrassing when they play so poorly. It kind of seems like I'm just a nagger and complaining when I'm reacting to the Springboks highlights from the first game. So I really hope the second game is not going to be that case, hey John?
I totally get that feeling. It's always more fun to highlight the good moments and celebrate the wins. Fingers crossed the Springboks come out firing this time and give you plenty of positive highlights to work with. We'll keep the optimism high.
Yeah, I need that. But anyway, John, like always, I appreciate you. John, you know what you got to do for my subscribers, for our subscribers, by the way. I'll let you go ahead.
Absolutely, Joe. I'll make sure to keep everything sharp and entertaining for our subscribers. I will bring the good vibes and accurate info to every video. Thanks for the chat, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
You didn't remember. I last time said, tell the subscribers You got to tell the subscribers to subscribe, John.
Ah, got it. All right, I'll make sure to give that a shout out. So, to all our subscribers out there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. Thanks for being awesome, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks, guys.
Bye. Everyone. Thanks for tuning in.